All right, Rainer, now it's your turn. So I'm going to be asking you some questions about, what book did you read?
The Six of Crows.
All right, I'll be asking you some questions about that. And
Yeah, of course.
yeah, so my first question for you is, how does the main character, who I believe is Kaz Brekker, operate and as a leader?
Mm-hmm.
And what traits make him like a good leader, even though he has some flaws, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
That's my question for you.
All right. Well, Kaz Brekker is a strategic mastermind. He leads through planning, manipulation, and he's super confident. He's not warm or emotional. He's not like empathetic or anything like that. But he understands people really well. He has a lot of emotional intelligence. And with his emotional intelligence, he can predict what people will do and as well as what they fear. His biggest flaws, such as his obsession to get revenge, and, well, because he's cold, he distrusts others. Well, these flaws, they actually play into how, he leads his group. They're very cautious. They're very methodical. Even though he's ruthless, he inspires his crew with his loyalty because his crew knows he will stay at the top of his game, 3 steps ahead of everyone else, secure the job, protect them, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Rainer.
All right, what's your next question for me, Leo Gonzalez?
My next question is really just, how do the characters' pasts or backstories just kind of influence their roles that they have in the big heist that they're going to try to pull off?
All right, so each character's past, it creates the skills that they have in the present and the motivations which they have. Well, this is because, let's take, for example, Inez. Inez's trauma, it makes her cautious and quiet. And, being quiet, it makes you the perfect spy. And, hey, now let's take in account for Jesper. Jesper has a gambling addiction. This pushes him to make risky decisions, and it also makes him fearless in battle. Now, you can see why he makes risky decisions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has gambling addiction. Their past shapes which skills they have in the battle or in their heist. Now, let's take into another example, Nina and Matthias. Nina and Matthias have a complicated history, and this affects their loyalty and the choices which they make through, let's say, emotions, like impulsiveness.
I see.
And Wyland's upbringing, this gives him, strength. Others, you don't expect him to be strong. Now, you can take, all of these characters, they have backstories. They don't just give the character a personality. They give the character their skills and, their motivations.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. They directly impact how each character behaves during the heist, showing that their flaws and strengths are deeply connected. Ignore that. Alright, I'm ready for the next question.
And Mr. Shepard, I'm sorry about that. That was the announcements. But
yeah.
Okay, so the next question that I have for you, and most likely the last question, is, so, what are the themes in Six of Crows?
Yeah.
And how do they, resonate or, stay with the readers?
Yeah. So, the themes this book explores are themes of trust, trauma, and loyalty. And through the last question you asked me, you can see that broken people can still, they utilize what skills they've learned in their tragic backstory to do amazing things like this heist. It shows how difficult it is. It also shows how difficult it is for people with, horrible backstories to rely on others. Even though it's hard to rely on others, you can see how deeply they resonate once they've found trust within each other. Another theme here is morality. the characters, they're not like your average heroes. They're not like Superman, Batman. They're like, what is it? They make some right choices, of course. They also make some wrong choices. It shows the survival of these characters and how it shapes a person's choices.
All right.
Readers can also connect with these things because since these characters make right and wrong decisions, they feel real, imperfect, and really relatable.
All right. Well, thank you. That is our interview. I hope you liked it, Mr. Shepard. All right. Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. All right. I'm interviewing Leo Gonzalez, and I'm asking him questions about the book called The Valley of Fear. For your first question, Leo, what is The Valley of Fear mainly about, and why is it an important Sherlock Holmes story?
That's a good question. Okay, The Valley of Fear is a Sherlock Holmes novel that kind of is like a classic murder mystery, but it also has like a really deep backstory that has many secret societies and a lot of betrayal. So it starts with Holmes receiving like a mysterious like coded message which warns him of danger.
Yeah.
And then this leads him to start investigating the murder of this guy named John Douglas at this place called the Burlstone Manor. And this makes it important because really Conan Doyle kind of splits the story into two main parts. The first one is about Holmes's investigation of the murderer, and the second one kind of reveals the past of the victim. So this structure kind of shows how everything kind of connects, and it makes it like one of like the most complex Holmes stories that I've read.
That is very interesting. Good question. All right. Now, for your next question, how does Sherlock Holmes solve the mystery, and through what skills does he show throughout the story?
All right. So Sherlock Holmes he uses his skills of observation and deduction, like we learned about, to like spot some like small details, like for example, the way that the gun was like facing the missing ring, and like there was really weird behavior of the people in the house. He also like notices that there were some things that like kind of inconsistencies that like many other detectives kind of like didn't really see or overlooked, and he just really uses deduction and logic to kind of like have a different explanation than what your average detective would like come up with. And also Holmes kind of uses his deductive reasoning and his calm like approach that reveals that the victim is not really who everyone else thinks he is, but that it was actually staged.
All right. For a third question, it is, the second half of the novel takes place in America. Why does Conan Doyle include this long flashback, and what does it add to the story?
Okay, so why is there the flashback? All right. So the American flashback really just explains kind of the motive that the murder had, that was talked about in the first half, and it introduces this secret, like kind of mafia-like organization called the Scrowers, and it's kind of like just like a mafia-like violent secret society that controls like this valley really. That it's through just violence and intimidation. And by showing the past life of the victim, who was John Douglas, the author really just shows how like fear and betrayal and then some loyalty really just kind of made him get to where he was. And this flashback also adds some tension, some conflict, and really just a better understanding of why the events of the murder really in England happened. So without this, the case wouldn't make sense. So the backstory really just completes the mystery. Shows kind of like the bigger world beyond what Holmes can see.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's all we have, Mr. Shepard. So, goodbye.